When 13 Reasons Why was released on Netflix, it didn't take long for people to start debating the social issues the series brings into the spotlight. From dealing with teen drama to showing how bullying affects others, the show proves we have a lot to learn. Whether you loved the show or not, we can all admit there are lessons we can take away after watching. If you haven't seen the series, then let us warn you now with a spoiler alert. If you're new to the taco, hit the red subscribe button and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Today we're discussing 13 lessons learned from 13 Reasons Why. Be kind. Remember the golden rule from when you were little? Treat others how you would want to be treated. For some reason, the older we get, the harder it is for some people to remember. Time and time again in the show 13 Reasons Why, Hannah was the victim of people being unkind to her. She wasn't the only person to suffer on the show because it also documented the relationship between Jessica and Justin. Many times the couple were loving, but there were also signs that it was an unhealthy relationship. This is mostly because Justin was internalizing a situation that occurred when he didn't stick up for his girlfriend. It took a toll on their relationship and he started to pull away instead of talking to Jessica. The show is riddled with dysfunctional relationships and people reacting before they think of how the other person will feel. The lesson here is to try to put yourself in other people's shoes. If they're already suffering, why would you make it worse by tearing them down? Take responsibility. There are so many people who didn't own up to their actions in 13 Reasons Why. This might have to do with the fact that they were teenagers and afraid of the consequences. Sadly, if they did take responsibility for their actions, they would not only have a clean conscience, but Hannah might also still be alive. One of the most important points of someone taking responsibility in the show was Sherry Holland's story. When she and Hannah left a party, Sherry ran into a stop sign and knocked it over. Later, the missing stop sign caused a major car accident. Other people blamed themselves for the crash because no one knew the truth. Sherry finally admitted her wrongdoing a year after the fact. Yes, it was scary, but it was also a relief. It's always better to admit when you're wrong because you never know who you might be hurting with your lies. Popularity isn't everything. How many of you cared about being popular in high school? Where has that gotten you? Chances are probably not very far. Once you leave school, no one is going to care who the prom king and queen were. After having her reputation ruined by Justin, Hannah tried desperately to have friends. She wasn't trying to be popular, but she was trying to run with the popular crowd. It turned out that they weren't very nice, and time again, Hannah was left disappointed and hurt. When you focus on pleasing others, you forget about pleasing yourself. You shouldn't have to seek the approval of others to feel good about yourself. Sadly, Hannah was never able to feel good about herself, and the constant betrayal leads her to sink deeper and deeper into depression. If you work on being happy with yourself, then it doesn't matter what everyone else thinks. Popularity isn't everything. Self-confidence and happiness are. You aren't the only one with issues. Growing up, it is sometimes hard not to notice the world around you. You may feel like you're the only one on the planet with problems, but we're here to tell you, you aren't. This is very evident in 13 Reasons Why. Justin has issues with his mom and her boyfriend. Jessica has issues with alcohol. Alex has problems with his father and the lack of attention he gets from him. Tyler is constantly being bullied at school. The list goes on, but you can see Hannah wasn't the only one with issues. Sometimes it's healthy to stop thinking about yourself and see how the people around you are doing. If someone needs to talk, be there to listen. You never know what people are going through, but you can always try to lend a helping hand. You might even save a life by doing so. Rumors aren't always true. It's really hard to keep from gossiping in school. When you get so many people together, things are going to happen and people are going to talk. It's almost impossible to know what is true and what is not. If you've ever had a rumor spread about you, then you already know how much it can hurt. So why would you want to put someone else through that? We saw this lesson play out in 13 Reasons Why when Hannah had a crush on Justin. She was so excited to have some alone time with him that she snuck out of her house. She met him on a playground and they had their first kiss, which was also Hannah's first kiss. Sadly, Justin turned the situation into something nasty when he lied about what happened to his friends. This was the beginning of the end for Hannah, and it could have been prevented if people stopped spreading the untrue rumor. Girls should stick together. Some of the most important relationship girls have from growing up are with other girls. These friendships can help your self-esteem as well as your sense of belonging. There are so many times in 13 Reasons Why when girls let each other down. One instance of this is when Hannah is at Jessica's party and witnesses Jessica getting hurt. Sadly, she didn't speak up for her at the time, and Jessica was in the dark about what happened to her. Another example is when Courtney Crimson initiated a kiss with Hannah, and Tyler snapped a photo of them. No, they didn't know they were being spied on, but when the photos surfaced, Courtney let Hannah take the fall alone. If she had spoken up, Hannah wouldn't have had to go through the ridicule alone. They would have had each other to lean on. Remember, ladies, having other women as allies is way better than having them as enemies. Bullying has to stop. With all the stories showing what happens when people are bullied, there's no reason it should still be an issue. Sadly, it's something that happens every day. Whether it's online or in real life, bullying has the potential to really hurt people. This is another case of being unkind, and when you tear someone down, you never know how they will react. Many times, bullies use their bullying tactics to look cool in front of their peers, like when people on the tapes tormented Tyler by breaking his bedroom window. It should never be considered cool to hurt someone or bully them. If you witness someone being mistreated, speak up. If you're being bullied, tell an adult, and don't give up hope. No one should be in charge of your mental wellness, but we all know that bullies can influence the way you feel. Remember the first lesson from this list, and always be kind to others. There's always another story. Have you ever heard the saying, your perception's your reality? On the show 13 Reasons Why, we see many of the characters react to the same situations completely different. This is because while they all experience the same thing, their perception of what happened could be different. This is why many people claim Hannah is lying on her tapes. We all know she wasn't lying, but their side of the story played out differently in their heads than Hannah's side of the story. There are times when Clay is listening to the tapes and he has flashbacks of a situation that is completely different from how Hannah experienced the same situation. Just because you know a whole story, you may not understand how someone else feels about it. You should never discount others' feelings because what they're experiencing is real to them. Instead, try to understand where they're coming from. Don't be scared of love. We're sorry to tell you, but many times in life, you'll strike out at love. But that shouldn't keep you from playing. If you have a crush on someone, you should tell them. The worst that can happen is that you'll be rejected. But how bad is that really? It's so much better to let someone know how you feel instead of keeping it in. At the very least, you will know where you stand. How many of you thought Clay would profess his love for Hannah to her? The tapes made it clear that she felt the same, but she never told him either. It was heartbreaking to see that neither of them would ever get the chance to let each other know how they felt. When it comes to love, don't keep it in. The world needs more of it, and you shouldn't be afraid to express yourself. Words are powerful. We've all heard the saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Who else agrees that this isn't true? Have you ever heard a friend say something mean to you but said it was a joke? It doesn't feel really nice, does it? Words are very powerful. They can lift you up when you need encouragement, and they can tear you down when you're already hurting. This is because words are our first line of communicating with others. When they're unkind, it can really have a toll on someone. Remember when Hannah looked forward to getting a compliment in her compliment bag? She was looking forward to people giving her words of affirmation. So it should be no surprise that it affected her when Zach emptied her compliment bag. Remember, your words have the power to make or break someone, so you should always choose them wisely. Talking to people is important. Everyone is going through something, but that doesn't mean they have to do it alone. If you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, then open up to someone. By talking, you can help ease the pressure, and you may even be able to solve your problems. Throughout the entirety of the show, many of the characters were hiding things from people. Hannah and Clay were hiding their love for one another. Courtney was hiding the fact that she's attracted to girls. Everyone was hiding the tapes from adults. It wasn't until the last episode that we saw people were finally starting to open up. They were talking to adults, and for once, we felt like things could finally get better. It's okay to admit that you need help. By admitting that you're struggling, you're allowing someone else to lend you a helping hand. There's always someone who cares. It may not always seem like it, but there's always someone out there who cares about you. You may not know how much you mean to someone because they may just be bad at communicating. This is when you have to take matters into your own hands. How many people do you know that you don't talk to often, but you still really care about? What's keeping you from letting them know how much you care? By reaching out to someone, you're showing them that you're there for them. Plus, it lets them know they aren't alone. There are times in the show that the characters keep themselves isolated. This is especially true for Hannah. When she did reach out to people, she was often disappointed when she wasn't being helped. If she had talked to her parents or Clay, she would have known they cared, and she wasn't alone. Your choices affect others. When you make a decision to do something, you're most likely only thinking about how it affects you. If it's a decision made in haste, you may not even think that far into the future. But you should know your choices affect not only yourself, but also others. This is evident in 13 Reasons Why, because it seems like every decision has a domino effect when it comes to affecting other characters. When Justin lied about the night he kissed Hannah, it leads Alex to put her on the list of good-looking girls. This in turn ruined Jessica and Hannah's relationship. Their relationship ending was one of the first times Hannah felt truly alone. Do you see where we're going with this? It's nearly impossible to know how much your actions will affect others, but that means you should be thoughtful of others with everything that you do. What are some lessons you learned from 13 Reasons Why? Share them in the comment section below. And if you aren't ready to change the channel, check out 10 signs you're unique. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to The Taco.